영상의 구성은 다음과 같습니다. 그럼 한번 시작해 볼까요?
20 years ago, we started looking at alcohol, going, maybe it can help us a little bit. Maybe it can help us with heart health. And then we started fine-tuning those studies. 20 years ago, we started looking at alcohol, going, maybe it can help us a little bit. Maybe it can help us with heart health. And then we started fine-tuning those studies. 20 years ago, we started looking at alcohol, going, maybe it can help us a little bit. Maybe it can help us with heart health. And then we started fine-tuning those studies. 20 years ago, we started looking at alcohol, going, maybe it can help us a little bit. Maybe it can help us with heart health. And then we started fine-tuning those studies. Here's another partial sentence that came from this video. The ... means that parts have been left out. I just didn't put the whole sentence because I thought the phrase would still make sense even if I left some words out. But if it's helpful, here is the whole sentence that was in the video. And then I'll maybe have you read just the part I put on the slide, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, so the full sentence is, 20 years ago, we started looking at alcohol, going, maybe it can help us a little bit. Maybe it can help us with heart health. And then we started fine-tuning those studies. Okay, but I think the excerpt being like the part, not in its whole entire sentence. I think the excerpt I put here still will work for explaining the phrase. So would you please read it for me?
Yeah, sure. Or I already memorized everything you just said. No, just kidding.
Did you? I'm
No,
like,
I didn't.
wow, I'm impressed.
I wish, but yeah. Okay, let me read the sentence really quick. 20 years ago, 20 years ago, we started looking at alcohol. Maybe it can help us a little bit. Then we started fine-tuning those studies.
Yeah, good job. Okay. So how about fine-tuning? Have you heard that phrase before?
I might heard of it probably at a photo shop, something like that. I don't know. That word is really familiar to me.
Yeah. So this is another one phrase that has a literal and then a figurative meaning. So what the words mean exactly, and then what they kind of are meant to mean in this use. So literally fine-tuning, that's something you might do. Like think of a musical instrument, for example, right? You need to tune your guitar or you need to tune your piano. So fine-tuning means to adjust it to the smallest possible level, right? Or to make even minor adjustments. So that can happen to a musical instrument or maybe some other kind of a device. So not just music. So that's what fine-tuning means literally, is to make those changes so that maybe like the piano sounds better, right?
Gotcha.
Okay, so here's what it means in this use. And actually pretty similar maybe. It's just not an adjustment to a device or an instrument. So fine-tuning means to make small or careful adjustments to whether it's an idea, a plan, or some kind of a strategy in order to have optimal performance, right? So kind of like what you're doing to your musical instrument, you're adjusting it so that it has optimal performance.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, because I have a question for you. So let's see if great minds think alike. What's your question?
So what does optimal mean?
Great minds think alike. That's what I was going to ask you. Okay. So if you haven't heard the word, which I'm guessing you're not familiar with it since you asked, with what I've said about the explanation and what you know about the meaning of this word, can you guess what optimal might mean?
Probably almost perfect.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh,
right?
really? Ooh.
Yeah. Yep. If I had to pick one word, I would say best. Performance. right?
Okay.
And I think that's an important strategy or skill for someone is if you don't know the word, of course you can look it up, but can you look at the other words around it and see if you can determine the meaning from those? So that was really nice job.
Thank you.
Here's another sentence with fine tuning. So we need to fine tune the details of our plan before we ask for funding. So do you know what it means to ask for funding?
Ask for money?
Perfect. Yep, that's exactly what it means. So in this example, if we have some kind of a plan and we want to ask for money to help put the plan in place, we would want to fine tune any of the details, make all possible careful adjustments, no matter how small they are, so that our plan is the best that it can be, so that it is
optimal. Yes.
There you go. So it's optimal, right? Okay. So how about that sentence? Does that help explain fine tuning in this use?
It does. Yes.
It does. Good. And would you like to read fine tune in this sentence for me?
Sure. We need to fine tune the details of our plan before we ask for funding.
Excellent. Good job. Can you think of any examples of a time when you might need to fine tune something?
Probably not me, because I didn't have to write any paper or anything like that, but almost all like a graduate school students have to write paper, but before they actually finalize their paper, they have to make a draft, write a draft or something like that.
Write a draft?
And then, write a draft. And then they fine tune on the draft, and then it will become actual paper.
Yeah, good job. I mean, I used to teach grade school, and I tell you, I sure wish there are some students who would have fine-tuned their writing before they turned it in.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and you gave me a situation, so maybe that kind of does the same. Be thinking if you can use it in a sentence of your own while I explain these synonyms for the phrase fine-tune.
Okay.
Okay, so some possible synonyms would be that you're going to refine the details. You're going to adjust. I kind of like the word rework because I think that tells, that you're going to kind of work it over again, or modify. Any of those would be synonyms for fine-tuning.
Okay.
Okay, how about a sentence of your own?
So, okay, let's say, that frame that we just hung looks kind of crooked. So we need to fine tune it in order to look straight. I mean, it's kind of literal meaning, I think. I know.
That might be more literal, because I think like in that example, I would really use the word adjust, because if it's crooked, you want to adjust it. I think fine tune is more like getting into the little details of, like the definition says here, like some idea or a plan or some kind of a strategy or task, maybe.
Let me
want
think.
to try again?
Okay, let me think.
Because I got one for you if you don't have one.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. You may not be aware of this, but you will be fine-tuning these videos before you post them.
Wow, that's a really good one.
Was that a good one?
It is a good one.
Yeah. Okay. Glad you liked it.
Thank you.
And it's true.